Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, look who's here. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM from the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey since the last several years. So thank you, Folgers. We couldn't do it without you, nor would we want to. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, a.k.a. Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his time, his music, and his voice for the intro you just heard. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind our logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre and Halloween genre, 'tis the season, and does amazing commission pieces of any type. So, of course, tonight, new Conjuring movie has been out. There's a lot of hoopla about it, and some people love it, some people don't love it. And lucky for us and for you, Maxim Furek is here tonight to discuss his latest book, The Smurl Haunting, the day that Ed and Lorraine Warren came to town. So, here we go. Let's find out what really happened. Hello.
Hello, Michelle. Hi, Amelia. Thanks so much. Michelle, this is what, the fourth time or fifth time that
it's got to be at least 5. Yeah. Yeah, you got some great stuff though, Maxim. We've got to, have you share it with us.
I appreciate it. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Our first date.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see. I think there's another one.
A little awkward on the first dates, but
yeah.
Oh gosh. So I mean, we've been hey everybody in chat. Hello. Oh my gosh, Michelle, Mort, Heidi, hello.
I can't see. So
hello. Yeah, working our way down. Thank you guys. Always great to see you all here. So of course, after our last show, Maxim, he said, okay, well, I've got this great book. I'm like, oh, okay, let's just do this. And I'm going to be totally I'm putting it out there. I have not seen The Conjuring. I have not really, I think if I've seen 2 in the series, I don't follow it. I don't watch a lot of TV, things like that. And I only know a smidge about the Smurl Haunting, the whole situation. So this for me is going to be a education from you.
okay. Well, okay.
Right.
Even if you think you know everything, you don't. So this is perfect.
Yes.
That Maxim's here to tell us because there's a lot of dips and twists in different stories.
So the student will become the teacher.
Exactly.
Okay, now I understand. Okay.
Let's go crazy, Maxim.
I'm a student and I need this book.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
Please do. Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
right, here we go.
The Smurl Haunting, when Ed and Lorraine came to town, and it's been it's published about 2 months ago. We beat the September 5th date of Conjuring Last Rites. That's when that came out. And actually, I had written about the Smurl Haunting in my book, Coleridge and Hoodoo. So I was familiar with it. But I want to throw this out. And, I write in the introduction of the book that something, and I know this sounds contrived and fabricated and phony baloney, but listen, hear me out. I feel that something was channeled through me to write the book. And I say this for three reasons. One, West Pittston, Pennsylvania, where this Smurl Haunting took place, was in my backyard. You know, I'm from northeastern Pennsylvania. It was a 30-minute drive. When all of the hysteria was happening, I was there. I was talking to the neighbors. I was taking pictures. I was caught up in the whole thing. But I did not talk to the Smurls because they were being attacked and assaulted by alleged demons, by the media, and by the public. So I didn't want to be a part of that. I gave them their space. When I found out that Ed and Lorraine Warren were going to be in northeastern Pennsylvania in 1988, I immediately contacted the promoter to get permission to go and hang out with them, interview them, and take pictures. Ed and Lorraine were on a 15-city tour. They were promoting the book The Haunted, which was about the Smurl Haunting. And this book came out in 1988, but so much happened after that that was part of the story. And my book tells that. My book captures and encapsulates, you know, the important stuff. For example, like the individual that actually saved the day, that was the hero that cleansed the house. And then the other thing, and this is the thing that is most bizarre, and maybe we could pick a word other than coincidence, but in July of this year, I talked my wife into going down to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to see Annabelle the doll. And myself and my wife, along with 1,260 other people, 1,260 people, each paid $40 to see Annabelle. That's a little over $50,000 that the New England Society for Psychic Research, you know, took in just for those 3 days. I talked to Dan Rivera on Friday the 11th. We agreed to do an interview for the Smurl Haunting on Monday the 14th. Dan passed the night before. I was one of the last paranormal guys to talk to him before he died.
Oh,
Yeah, I knew Dan. That was a
such
tough
a
one.
nice guy.
It was a
Yeah.
tough one, and the controversy, you know, was triggered immediately.
Mhm.
And so anyway, that's still festering and fuming, and there's a lot of drama and politics and everything happening as we speak. So I mean, the dust has not settled, and the truth has never really been articulated. So I'm hoping that my book, you know, is able to go and put some of that into a clearer focus, and that's the purpose of the book.
Right. Well, there is a law, of course. How many times? I mean, Amelia and I have talked about this with a lot of the Conjuring or the different, like Haunting Connecticut, the different shows that have come out, and we're like, the documentary was always better, the book was always better. You know, it seems to be the same old story. And of course, if you can just push aside the theatrics, which, I mean, I get it. You know, it costs a lot of money to make a film, and they want to make sure that it sells, whether, you know, they fudge it up or not. So, you know, what really happened?
Yeah, well, first of all, just when we talk about horror movies, let's take a look at the Conjuring franchise. It's the most successful horror franchise in history.
Wow.
2.7 billion with a B, and that's net, not gross. That's net. I mean, that's pretty good
substantial.
numbers. So what if the movie wasn't that good? So what if the movie, not tell the truth? The only thing realistic about Conjuring Last Rites was they captured the frenzy, the hysteria that was happening in West Pittston on Chase Street. You know, the hot rodders, the paparazzi, all that. I mean, it was crazy. It was a mob scene. It was like, you know, the villagers going up to Frankenstein's castle. I mean, it was kind of like that. So, and I saw that, and it was just like the worst example of human behavior, you know, when something happens, something like this. So anyway, that was the movie, a successful movie financially, but critically, you know, I mean, I enjoy the Conjuring movies, and so I enjoyed it as entertainment. But as far as truth or realism, there was none of that, none at all. And as we said earlier, Judy Warren, who is the chief protagonist, who is the target for the demon and the mirror and all this, you know, Judy never stepped foot in the Smurl house in West Pittston. Neither did Jack Spira, her husband. So
Tony.
all of that was
Yeah.
just made
Yeah,
up.
but and they admit that too. They said that they were sort of put into it, like it's just the entertainment aspect of it, and they
Yeah.
tell you enjoy the entertainment part of it. We weren't there.
Or maybe
Yeah.
let's think outside the box and let's let Judy go forward since Ed and Lorraine aren't around. Let's let Judy be the one that carries the torch and does all the conjuring. So maybe Judy's going to be around for a while. But I love horror as an art form, and for your listeners out there, if you haven't seen these, I mean, in 2025 we had Sinners, Bring Her Back, and Weapons. All three are just wonderful, wonderfully made, especially Weapons with the delightful Julia Gardner. If you get a chance to see that, and I don't know, are you familiar with that film?
I don't think so. No.
No,
Okay, well,
I don't watch a lot of
I watch a lot of movies. I'm not familiar with it.
okay, well,
Yeah, but I do love Jennifer Gardner.
Yeah, 3:15 in the morning, all these kids run away from home. And all of them happen to be the students of Julia Gardner. So they have the school board meetings and everything, and they want to know why it was only her class that left. They can't find the kids, and they accuse her of being a witch. So that's the beginning of this motion picture that has layers and layers and layers of drama and suspense. It is good. It's worth watching.
It touches on everything in
Well,
the paranormal.
it touches on all the topics that you ladies talk about on your program, but I mean, it's just how they peel that onion and go back and do it again and again and again. I mean, it's really well crafted. It's ingenious. It needs to be looked at as a serious, form of art. Weapons.
And what was the title again, Maxim, please?
It's called Weapons.
Weapons.
Yeah, in 2025.
I think, well, now that you've described it, I think I may have seen a trailer for it.
Yeah, you probably did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I have insomnia, so I watch a lot of films.
yeah, check it out.
Yeah.
So anyway, the truth was this: the Smurl Haunting was like all of the haunted houses that you've ever heard about. You have the grunting sounds, you have the smells. This one had the profanities etched in the mirror. Examples, cases of levitation that happen all the time. Rooms that are hooked up with a heating system, with a furnace, that suddenly go down to 30 degrees or 50 degrees. Things like that. So in the Smurl Haunting, when Ed and Lorraine came to town, the Smurl Haunting, the chapter of the Smurl Haunting isn't until the middle of the book. I take a look at other infamous examples of demonic infestation. Amityville, the Damned Wells House, and others, and I compare that with the Smurl Haunting. And with the Smurl Haunting, I believe that it was more violent and more intense. And Jack Smurl claimed that he was raped by a female demon, a succubus, twice. And also Janet Smurl claimed that she had been abducted by had been sexually abused by some demon, some unseen demon. So I believe that the level of violence that took place at the Smurl Haunting was a lot more intense than any of the other houses, including the Hindsdale House, which is in Western New York. And the, so when they ask why, I think that the reason for that is I think that it was personal because Jack and Janet Smurl were devout Christians. They were Catholics. I believe they had a mark on their back. I think that the devil, the demon, was looking to take them down. I believe, again, if you believe, and I think all this should be prefaced by this, there's a centuries-old debate on whether or not evil exists, whether the devil exists. I believe that they do. And I believe there's demonic forces, demonic energies, realms of demonology. And I believe in the rite of exorcism, which tends to be more of the domain of Catholics than Protestants. Even though Islam has a similar version of exorcism, and other religions do too. But the Catholics seem to be running with this. And in modern days, I mean, we believe that, that there's something going on. And that the devil needs to be addressed and contained in the year 2025. So, it's but I'm not trying to convince anybody over to my side. I mean, you believe what you want to believe, but I believe that it does exist. And my book, The Smurl Haunting, is sort of like a deep dive into demonology and how it works and how people become possessed, and how and all of that. So the feedback has been pretty incredible. It's wonderful when an author gets positive feedback. It's wonderful when somebody says, "Hey, I read your book," So
the timing was perfect for you.
Yeah, it really was, and I'm glad I did it. And I think that certainly the movie coming out has helped quite a bit, and
Yeah,
great.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, these things sell. People have a healthy curiosity for what goes on. Unfortunately, with the real story, people see the films. People have no clue what really happened. You say that they had a target on their back. And I imagine, something comes in, sometimes by chance, sometimes not by chance. Sometimes you're the one that sort of walks into it, but there's a lot of people who have bullseye on their backs. What made these guys such an enticing target? Because there's got to be something to make it worth the while of anything coming in,
Good question. Out of all those people in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, of all those people that went to the Catholic Church, why them? I don't know. I mean, we're talking about the paranormal, and you as well as I know that there's no rhyme or reason. So
there's rumors. There's rumors. But I don't, like I said, I haven't done enough research to know if it's just that. But I don't know if you heard any. That the man that lived there, and I can't remember his name, his wife he used to beat his wife, and this is in the 1950s, and he caught his wife with another man in his bed, and then he was fueled by a demonic entity in the home, but this thing would use him to attack Jack and Janet because he saw them as his wife and her lover. That's what I heard. I don't know how much truth there is to that, because that wasn't even in the film. This was just
correct. There was nothing in the film. I mean,
no.
See the film for pure entertainment. It's a horror movie, and not that scary at all. But
it was actually one of their better ones.
I thought the movie would have been a lot better if they would have had the debate within the Catholic Church. Maybe the priest saying that we have to go and perform an exorcism, and the church saying, no, we can't, we can't get involved. That political fight, that feud would have been a lot juicier than what they gave us. I mean,
it's a fact.
And it would have been a lot closer to the truth too.
Absolutely.
Because the church is afraid of getting involved in things like this, because there's people that they're mentally unbalanced. They want attention. They want whatever. They want cleansing. They want something. And the church, I have a chapter called The 2%. Father Amorth was the Vatican's chief exorcist.
Gabriel Amorth.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a movie called The Pope's Exorcist with Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Excellent.
Well done.
He did really well.
Yeah, it made sense. And but anyway, with Father Amorth said that when someone claims that they're possessed, the church has to determine whether or not it's an actual demonic possession or if it's mental illness, i.e. schizophrenia, Tourette's syndrome, bipolar, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
Father Amorth said that only 2% of the cases that he deals with are actual demonic possession. So the chapter of my book was the 2%. And that's what we're talking about. All of the naysayers, the critics, the boo birds are just talking about the 98%. You know, we could explain that. You can't explain the 2%.
Mm.
And what's interesting, if we could just talk numbers for a moment here, you know, when we talk about flying saucers, the 3% is tossed around all the time. That out of everything we see, 3% of what we see is actually an anomaly, either ours, theirs, or from someplace else. We just don't know, that 3%. So 2% with demonology, 3% with ufology, and with cryptozoology, we have no numbers. And I'm looking for something to just expand this debate, you know. So I don't know, but Father Amworth talked about that. One interesting study, and I have that in the book. I have a chapter called the Apostles of Exorcism, and I talk, you know, starting with Jesus Christ. One of his first miracles was to cast out the demons, and in the Bible, the casting out of demons is old hat. I mean, it happens all the time. It's, you know, shouldn't come as a surprise because it's all over the Bible, you know. But anyway, there were two German believed that this young woman, the student Annalise, was possessed by a demon, and they did all these exorcisms, and she died. So the German courts took them on trial, and both the two priests and Annalise's parents were found guilty of this homicide, you know, due to exorcism. So the rite of exorcism is no longer performed in the country of Germany because of this. So.
You know, that's, for me, that's so sad, because if you look back at the history and all of the research, she was possessed, and she was possessed by many demons. There was legion, and it went back to Cain. I mean, it's really sad, because that just tells me that people who perhaps throughout history since then have gone untreated. And there's a difference between, like, with the Smurls, I felt like it was more the land and the home were possessed, not so much the people. Like, I didn't see signs of possession.
They were like collateral damage. I think.
They were being targeted and taunted for the energy to feed that thing. But I don't believe either one of them was possessed.
Yeah,
I just believe Janet was a target.
Yeah, I think demonic forces can infest people, places, and things. You know,
absolutely.
Annabelle doll. But also the places, you know, certainly the Smurl House, probably either items that they owned, or maybe some of the Smurls were infested because they went on several camping trips, and then weird demonic things happened on that trip. So, you know, those forces stayed with them.
What's an attachment?
It was an attachment. Very good.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the possession, there's one theory that Christians cannot be possessed, but, you know, I don't believe that, but I've heard this numerous times, and I don't know where this comes from, but I just think that possibly because of their strong faith, because of their connection to the church, because they knew these priests, because they had a strong support system. And this is one of the most important things you can have, you know, people who have your back. So they had that. I mean, they were able to fight off these demonic forces. I mean, they had the strength, they had the belief in the trust in God, the faith in God. And, you know, I think that helped them ride this out. And they were confronted with not only the demonic forces, but with rapacious media, a paparazzi that Janet Smurl talked about, hundreds and hundreds of calls she would get from international reporters who wanted exclusives. And they didn't just want exclusives, they wanted the juicy stuff. They wanted the tabloid stuff that would sell. So it was that, and then plus the public, and this always happens, that public that said, well, they did it for the money. Well, you know what? They probably did make some money. And that book, the Haunted, you know, it wasn't a very good book, but it did sell millions. It was serialized in Red Book. They made a Fox made-for-TV picture about it. So, it sold. But Jack and Janet Smurl went to Chicago and New York City with Ed and Lorraine Warren. So they probably had transportation, hotel room, meals, and whatever, got a couple of bucks for that. And then they appeared on these shows. They weren't with Ed and Lorraine on their 15-city book tour, but they did a lot of the shows of the day. And at first, they did it behind a screen. They were afraid to come out, and then they finally decided to do that. And they thought by doing this, it would force the church to take a stand and do something, because they thought that the church was being reluctant. And I think overall the church did come through, but maybe initially, they had some issues with the parish.
It didn't come through until after they moved out. They made enough money from the film to be able to afford to leave. And it didn't come to fruition for that house to be cleansed or clean until I think it was a while after that, maybe even more than a year. The church went in and exorcised the home, and the neighbors have said that there's been nothing since. That's what's missing in the film.
Yeah, right. The local priest would sit there. They would spend the night to see if they could hear anything. They would do a cleansing, a blessing. They would do an exorcism. Every diocese has a priest who's skilled in the art of exorcism. That wasn't working. So Ed and Lorraine came. They came there 4 times. Ed was a self-taught demonologist. He knew the rite. I mean, we can do that. We could recite that rite and whatever, and get the spirit, get the power from God, from above. But he wasn't able to do it. So he sent for Bishop Robert McKenna. And McKenna was a rogue priest. He was up from Monroe, Connecticut. He came down and he tried it 3 times. He wrote the intro in The Haunted. And he said, why are these forces tormenting the Smurls, who are a wonderful, God-loving family? Something like that. That was in his intro. But McKenna tried it 3 times and he couldn't get the job done. And everybody was frustrated. By this time, Ed and Lorraine were on TV. It was a well-known thing. And I think the church realized they had to do something. So it was Bishop Timlin from Scranton who brought in Father Alphonsus Trabold from New York State. And he came in and did the cleansing. It took him 4 times to do it, but he was able to get the job done. Now, what's interesting, I did a presentation on the Smurl Haunting yesterday down here in Beverly Hills, Florida. And there was a woman there in the thing I was talking about, the Hindsdale House in Western Pennsylvania. She lived, I think in Olean, she lived right next to the Hindsdale House. So she knew all about that. She went to school and was taught by Father Alphonsus Trabold. They called him Spooks. He was a well-known paranormal academic, and he was a short guy. He was and she had all of these asides with him. So I have her phone number. So I'm going to meet with her for coffee and just pick her brain. But I mean, she knew him, like I knew Ed and Lorraine, and I realizing that many people don't like Ed and Lorraine Warren for many, many, many different reasons. And we could talk about that if you like, but I like them. I believed in them. And one of my fondest memories was 1988, being there on the sidewalks of Jim Thorpe, hanging out.
I love Jim Thorpe, just saying.
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite places. I love it.
Yeah. We'll meet there. We'll have coffee.
You got it.
One cappuccino, right?
Yeah, you got it. It's a cool thing.
It'll only take her 5 hours to get there, though.
A little baguette or whatever.
Yeah.
But, hanging out on the sidewalks of Jim Thorpe and talking about demonology and demonic possession and resistance and all this. I mean, man, it was just like so cool. And Michelle, you know this. I mean, we've talked several times, but of all of the hats I wear, whether it's the Bigfoot hat or the flying saucers, it's the realm of demonology that really speaks to me, that interests me, that fascinates me. And I think of all of it, I mean, this may be the one that has the most truth. I mean, that the tangible truth that you could hold in your hand. So that's my theory. I mean, I'm not, I believe that everything else may be like interdimensional. I think there's another realm for that too. But with demonology, I just think that it's something that's very real and frightening, and people need to be aware of what they're doing. And it's almost like buyer beware. We talked about there's a trend these days for these people, ghost hunters, organized group hunters, ghost hunters going to prisons, shut down prisons or mental institutions, looking for spirits and ghosts or demons, and you don't know what's going to show up. And so it's almost like buyer beware. Be careful of what you're looking for, because you may find something that you're not going to be able to control.
Comes home with you and never goes away.
Right, it never goes away. Yeah, and again, we talk about that temptation and then infestation and eventually the possession. But it could be because people are looking for it. It could be because there's a curse placed on them. It could be because they're Christians, Catholics, Jews, whatever their religious, Buddhist, their belief is. That I think that the devil wants to bring them down. It could be, I think, through portals like Ouija boards and tarot cards and seances.
Those are tools. I think you're looking at intention and mindset and things like that. It's all about the intention. Any way you want to communicate. You can do it with a tape recorder. You can do it with a pendulum. You can do it with a phone app. If the intention is to reach out and pull something in and invite something, it will happen. It can happen with a thought. I think a lot of people look at all these tools, and the tools themselves are blamed, but the tools themselves can sit there, and if there's no intention of anyone sitting behind them looking to activate something, you know what I mean? That's just what I found in my couple of decades of working in the field of aggressive infestations and such.
Right. I think there needs to be a little bit of knowledge and sophistication in this, because in the example of Ouija boards, I mean, some people can use the Ouija board and may be able to contact a certain specific spirit that may guide them and answer questions.
If they're lucky.
People, if you're lucky, if you have that, right? If you've been able to tap into that. Other people, though, it's the roll of the dice. Let's hope something. And again,
you get a mimic. A demonic energy.
Yeah, low level.
Lower lying entities. It's just lay in wait.
Yeah, I remember we attempted a seance in college, and it was stupid. It was foolish. It was, we wanted the devil to give us a sign. I mean, it was, in retrospect.
You didn't get a he's busy, leave a message?
Yeah, I know. So
yeah.
Let's hope he's not somewhere dormant with one of you. Just because they don't come out that day doesn't mean that they don't come out years later.
Yeah, and they also feel that interest too.
Ride,
they hitchhike.
Yeah, so just be forewarned, be careful, know what you're doing, and I don't know, but it's an interesting topic. And the Smurl Haunting, the book compares the Smurl Haunting with all the other ones, like Hindsdale House. What's interesting about the Hindsdale House is that Father Alphonsus Trabold, who was the hero of the Smurl Haunting, did 4 exorcisms. And the first one, and this isn't captured in The Haunted, the book by Robert Curran, because this book was written in 1988. This happened later. But the first time that Father Trabold went there, he thought that the sounds and what he heard there was because of the mine subsidence. Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania is built under coal mines, and every now and then they'll collapse, and you'll have like sinkholes and all that. And Father Trabold thought that that's what it was. But he came back, and he thought there was something powerful, something demonic. And he was able to go and cleanse it. At the Smurl, yes, the Smurls had already left, but he was able to cleanse the house. And we know this because there was no horrible smells and grunts and the pounding of the walls and all this. Things
Yeah,
had
it all stopped.
Hmm.
Do we know if anything has happened since the flooding in 2011? If it's reignited anything?
No, the first flood, the Agnes flood of 1972, what happened was the whole area got just drenched, and then this Hurricane Agnes went out to the Atlantic and came back again, and there was like a double whammy. I mean, it was just it was horrific what happened in that area. But Jack and Janet Smurl left the Wilkes-Barre area and found a place in West Pittston. That's how they came there. The Hurricane Lee in 2011 was another one that was huge. I think that was bigger than Agnes. But no, I think that by that time the demon had been cleansed or chased away and wasn't there. We haven't heard anything with the local owners, the renters, and but the one thing I want to say about Father Trabold, he was successful in the Smurl Haunting, but he was not successful at the Hindsdale House in Western New York, and he tried to cleanse it and couldn't. And he told the people there, just take your belongings and leave. Don't tell anyone where you're going, because this place is a gateway to hell. And he left it. Now, just this summer, we drove down past that thing, and we're coming down from Buffalo, New York. But if you could spend the night there, the guy has like a bed and breakfast, so you could spend the night at the Hindsdale House for a fee. That can't be good, I mean, having your.
I knew somebody who was who knew the original owners of it before Daniel bought it, and she was in Olean and very, very familiar with it. She knew that place inside and out, everything around it, just the historical stuff, and that place is just it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yes.
But and then even with Ed and Lorraine's Occult Museum, it's now being leased by Matt Rife, the comedian. Your thoughts on that, please?
Oh, it's owned.
Huh?
It's owned by him.
Oh, he bought it? Okay. I thought he was just leasing it.
No, they bought it.
Oh, he bought the museum?
No, the museum, he is a caretaker on contract of the artifacts. So the family has basically said, Tony said, we'll never sell them.
Okay.
But where do you keep it? And, they're willing. Part of the agreement was that they would be the caretakers and the lease would be renewed with it. So when you're looking at that type of a collection, I always found it very interesting that people with just, I think they said he had like 7 years experience, in the field, and
Combined?
to be in charge of that kind of a collection is quite an undertaking.
Being a comedian doesn't help for my personal thing, but I'm just trying to stay out of it. I'm not happy.
Ryan Buell has stepped back in, and
well, is it a good thing? Is it a good thing or a bad?
Yet to be determined, I think.
Ryan Buell showed his face after Dan Rivera passed. That's when he came back to cameras.
Yeah. Oh, Maxim, I think you're frozen. But yeah, I think it's yet to be determined. Everything is so freshly just happened, and everything's new, and I guess we'll wait and see. And Maxim is frozen.
Yeah. Well, they can't keep the house forever, and they need to retire at some point too. It's like, how do you make that? It's like making a decision for the guardian of your child. It's not.
You have to maintain it. You have to pay its taxes. It's an expense. You have two retired people who have their own lives and their own property. But again, that's and gone. There's a lot going on with that. But there's a lot of hoopla going on with that. And then just tie in the Conjuring house. There's a whole other story.
Oh my! I've stayed away from it, Michelle, for the last. I find politics haunting enough.
Yeah.
So I've stayed away from that conversation. I just happened to see a paragraph. I'm not even going to mention who. I saw a paragraph and I went, "This happened in a month."
Yep. I
what
know.
sorcery is this?
Well, some
Because
people are really annoyed because you've got, said individual from popular TV show of past asking, has a GoFundMe, give me some money so we can buy the
But
Conjuring house.
said individuals putting $1 million in.
Yeah. Okay.
That I
So
did read because I'm
so-
like, okay, I get it. You
so they
can't put
want
all
more
of
than
it
$1
in.
million. Yeah. So the GoFundMe. So that's a lot. There's a lot of people who are not happy about that. But you know what? They took it off auction. It was supposed to go up for auction on Halloween.
Maybe bought it.
I don't know, or maybe they're just
I don't
like,
know.
no, we're not going to get this crazy frenzy, going on.
Because
So
you have to wonder about the intention of the people who are donating. This comes into a whole other.
I think Mr. Hawes wants to keep it as an educational thing as well, and to protect whatever integrity is left
I
of
agree
the house.
with
And
that.
I
And
agree
he's a
with
good
that
guy.
as well.
He's
Yeah.
a good man. I get that. I'm concerned about the people that are donating. Are they all of good intent, or are some donating with a ritual behind it? I'm not trying to start something. I'm actually thinking out loud. No, for those that are listening, because you know exactly what I'm saying. But
yeah, I don't follow it enough really
No.
to try to sort it out. I just try to back off. I'm not on social media a lot, which I apologize to everybody who's messaging me right now. I just see this little round thing with all these numbers on it going, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have not so much social media, and it's a very busy time of year for me to start with, doing other people's shows and such. And, just there's a lot.
It's busy from now till New Year.
Yeah.
But
For sure.
I shut down Messenger, and I still get messages, or my friends calling me. I message you. Why?
Yeah.
If you have my cell phone, just send it. I closed Messenger.
Yeah.
But it's just too much. It's too much.
I'm just waiting to see if Maxim has.
Yeah. I'm trying to stay out of that.
Yeah.
I know too many people involved. I'm trying to stay out of it. I hope everybody ends up happy and things go well, whichever way they're supposed to go.
Yeah.
And I wish them all the best.
I just messaged Maxim again. Are you coming back?
I think that becomes a historical building that can't be touched.
Makes it hard. I think this was also a misconception with Ed and Lorraine Warren's home. We'll staying on the whole Ed and Lorraine Warren thing, is that when the house was bought, they figured they would be able to charge for overnight investigations, have events, Airbnb, and everybody said the town of Monroe is not going to go for that, and they did not.
No,
they're like, no, absolutely not. I mean, I've been to the home, and it's on a very quiet little cul-de-sac, and
nobody wants those cars there.
No, you might have 5 houses on there. Like it's insane.
I'd be pissed if one of my neighbors did that, and I don't have very many neighbors. Like that would piss me off.
Yeah, it gets to be a little bit. You know what I mean?
It gets loud.
So, yeah,
it gets loud. I had one that was renting next door, and I won't say what religion, but they had music festivals that went on every few months for 4 days, and the music was going from Friday to Sunday till 3-4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
it's like, hello, my window's right here. I know that we're hundreds of feet away. Excuse me, but sound carries, especially when it's plugged into an amp. So it was difficult, and I can't imagine having, you don't know what kind of people are creeping in your neighborhood, especially in a cul-de-sac. They could walk anywhere when you're not home.
Absolutely.
I would find that as infringing on my personal and private.
Well, a lot of these places are going to start going. I'm sort of surprised that a certain somebody who we know loves to buy up haunted items and properties didn't. So
I'm wondering if they were declined.
That could be, might be a bidding war going on for the next one. So I just brought up something just to keep in tune with the show until Maxim gets back. Okay, so keeping on with the Smurl Haunting. Okay, I'm just going to go through the timeline. So throughout the 1970s and 80s, so this is a long time, the Smurl family was plagued, apparently, by demonic activity in their Pennsylvania home. I'm reading this off U.S. Ghost Adventures.
Yeah, 1974 to 1989.
Probably not a good thing here either.
No, they have it accurate. It's 1974 to 1989. That's a long.
Well,
That's
I
longer
know
than the
I
Harrisville.
know absolutely nothing about this
Yeah.
webpage, so I'm just blapping off because I don't follow anything on social media. I just I have no clue.
No,
Anyway,
this
so
I got
anyway, but
myself. Yeah.
I have to give credit to where I'm taking the information. Love them or hate them. I have to give credit. So, so anyway, plagued by activity in their home, intense hauntings, and Lorraine came in to investigate. Now, from what I understand, like the Smurls bought the place in 1973. Let me move. And it was like at least 10 years before the Warrens came in. I'm just looking into 1986. So that was what, 13 years?
It didn't. There were little things that were happening first. The heavy part of it didn't happen until it started.
Yeah.
Where it was like really bad with one person, and then talk about it, feed it.
Yeah.
And grow.
They say they were seeing black mist began to appear in the hallways. Their family's German shepherd started levitating.
Thrown across a room.
Yep. Physical escalates to physical attacks on the family, phantom screams, putrid odors, unexplained phenomena. With their daughters. Okay, they purchased this duplex. Okay. So if this is the case between the 70s and 80s, so they moved in their Pennsylvania home. Okay, so this is when they moved into this.
It was at a really good price because they didn't know that the gentleman had killed his wife and her lover there in 1955.
Right. Yeah, you read that. I don't see anything about this. I'm just going to kind of read on and just jump in.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry.
And I mean, Maxim can jump in. Maybe he's just got a bad reception where he is. But as soon as the Smurls moved in, they realized something was off about their new home because apparently, that they had part of the family on the one side, part of the family on the other side, because it was a duplex. So things took a turn when they awoke in the middle of the night to the sound of banging on the walls and ceiling. During the day, they began to notice foul stench throughout both sides of the duplex and smelled like a combination of sulfur and rotting flesh, typical, right? The sounds of a pig grunting. See, I think where a lot of people, because I know like the parapsychology field, that whole circuit, just because I read this article quickly, they said this is a hoax. You're getting the same sort of stuff based on, and I'm just going to give my 2 cents worth, the same thing Amityville went through: the pig, the ceiling, the scratches, the banging,
the paint,
the
bleeding on
everything.
The wall. Yeah.
So I'm just going to throw it out there, guys. Tell me what you think. Yeah. Do you think that this sort of stuff started happening? Like, I want to read further as we go, to see, like, did they want Ed and Lorraine to come back? Because Ed and Lorraine had done Amityville. You know what I mean? Like drawing them back in with the same sort of things, creating that connection.
So confusing because the stories change everywhere.
So, but there's one thing I have learned was that, because I have had mediums say to me throughout the years, like this was connected to a different location I had been at. And this was basically, the family found me based on some of this stuff. Like it was somehow connected.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
the demons.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if this is sort of the same idea. I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
It really does make a lot of sense, because if you look at it, this demon, like the one at Amityville, was using this passed on spirit, this stuck energy, and his rage and his anger over his wife and her lover to continually hurt the new people that were living there, and fed to him, this is who it's your wife. This is her lover. You need to stand up. And that's the impression I got when I was reading it. And then I did read about Steve Kaplan, who was also at Amityville, parapsychologist, and I heard his discrediting them in some news thing in the 80s, but keep in mind that parapsychology and paranormal doesn't always
they don't jive. They don't see
No.
eye to eye.
No,
But I think it's important to have the balance of both.
very much so. And
you
the
know.
squealing pigs is very reminiscent of
Amityville.
demonic, especially in the rite.
That's true.
In the Pope's
That's true.
exorcist, he sends the demonic spirit to the pig, and then it comes back for him
Yeah.
for Father Morth at another case.
Yes, that's right.
So
Didn't Malcolm Martin also sort of go through something similar like
Yes.
that with the connecting? Yeah,
and a
see?
child, and a
Yeah.
child,
Yeah.
a child. It went through a child, and it threatened him. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh!
Yeah.
why I
Gloves
don't
off.
do this stuff. Yeah.
You know. Okay,
You're
so
not wanted here, and she's like 6.
so we're going to go back here to the day file central. Okay, black mist in the hallways, mists and masses transformed into shadow figures. Years later, during an interview, Janet would tell a reporter, some people say they don't know if there's a heaven or hell. Well, in this house, we know heaven and hell exist because we've seen both sides. So unable to move out of this duplex because of financial constraints, the Smurls began to fear for their safety as the hauntings violently escalated. As the years went on, the Smurls grew stronger. Then it began to attack them. One of the daughters was pushed down the stairs by an unseen force. Again, the 75-pound shepherd levitated in the air, thrown against the wall. Another one of the Smurl daughters was nearly killed when the chandelier above the kitchen table abruptly fell.
4 feet by 2 feet, and you will hear that right straight from Janet's mouth in an interview.
Right.
That it just, her husband went to investigate it, and it was, hi, Kason, and it was ripped out of the ceiling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. See.
And there are standard things, signs of demonic infestation. Those are and I think what hurt them the most was it was coming off the heels of Amityville.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, and because there were so many, there were so many different similarities, and people were just like, no, it can't be possible.
People have to understand as well, when you hear Gabriel Morth, God rest his soul in peace. I'm sure he's playing cards over there with Eric's. But when you hear him say 2% of the cases that come in here, what no one's telling you is that they're getting hundreds of thousands of cases a month coming through the Vatican. They cannot keep up. That's why they opened up the education process and the case sharing with other people across the world to teach them how to do it. Because for some reason, it's, I don't know why, but it's that Catholic rite that it's responding to. It could just be a type of demonic, I don't know, group, race, who knows, right? But because there's different religions have different things that are negative. I was looking up Buddhists because I was trying to help a friend today whose daughter is Buddhist, and I found it very interesting. And in the end, I said to her, you need to speak to someone who is a monk or works in this to help you, because I can't possibly understand what's going on here, like how to take it. I would need time with it that she can't spare, so. But yeah, it's crazy because I was seeing all of this stuff, and that house had been exorcised while they were in there, and it just vamped everything up. It just made it worse. And until
Which
it was
is normal.
Yeah, until it was exercised after everybody had left. And the only reason they could leave, I'll repeat myself, is because they had made enough money from the haunted film that they were able to afford to move. And remember, their neighbor in that duplex are the children's grandchildren. They're Jack's parents. And she suffered a heart attack while living there. They were all getting ill, including Ed, who missed that exorcism that failed in the house because he was ill. No coinky dinky there.
No, not. I know, even I think the Warrens website speaks in a little bit more detail with this. When they, they're a family of 6, they've got, from what I can see, 4 girls here.
Yeah.
But they would often hear voices that sounded like one another, and again, black masses floated through the home. She was visited in the dead of night. Janet said she was visited in the dead of night by a malevolent force that molested her in her sleep. And
Yeah.
Jack started experiencing the horror in his home. Lying in bed with Janet, he heard some whispering, a young woman, it seemed, and when he turned to face his wife, he watched a shadowy figure run up her leg.
Yeah. And then there was another time after that exorcism where it was quiet for a couple weeks and everything escalated, that he was this time sexually assaulted by a succubus who had the body of a young woman like the first one, but a face of a young woman, where before it was a hag's face.
Right.
But the older lady, what I love about this, because I love Lorraine Warren, and I love the work that her and Ed did, and I believe a lot of people like to toss people and hurt them when they're doing something good instead of praise and ask, how can I help? A lot of, oh my God, I lost my train. Like, what a shock. I looked up, squirrel, and lost my train. I just feel, there's so many similarities, and I'm glad that they were there to take care of this, because I don't know, after doing the research that I did, if they would have had peace now without that interference. And the reason why the priest came in was because Ed and Lorraine Warren brought in a rogue priest.
Yeah, it makes it really, it makes it really
hard. Who wants to go through all of this just for some media attention? Like, that's just ridiculous in my opinion. But in the times were different. You're talking about the late 80s, no internet.
And there was also not a lot of, it's like you say, no internet. Like, really was a matter of who do you call. Ed and Lorraine were sort of the pioneers in some sense. I mean, there were many, there were some who came before them, but I think Amityville and Connecticut really put them on the map.
Oh, Pennsylvania is haunted as,
for sure. For sure.
That's what I was going to say. They had, when they became popular internationally, people were just parking themselves on their lawn. And even a witch's coven came and was on their lawn and asked to do rituals inside the house. They had to get police to remove them. So you don't know what's being invoked outside while you're dealing with all of this darkness inside. You don't know how much of that is affecting them.
Right.
Betty Ann Moore was a psychic that came in and ID'd the spirits. Now, we're talking about a few years later. ID'd the spirits exactly to what Lorraine said, that there were 4 spirits, but she was able to name them and tell you why they were there. Lorraine said there was an elderly woman who probably suffered dementia. There was a senile woman. There was a man, I believe his name was Patrick. He was the one that murdered the wife in that home, and the lover in that home, and he used to beat her all the time. And she said that he was afraid to cross because he wouldn't be accepted, and that's why he was there. And he was the spirit that the demonic was using to control everything. Yes, because he told him he couldn't cross. He wouldn't be accepted. He'd go to hell. So he was in fear. And again, you remember he was he passed in the 50s, so there's a lot that's different about that. And then the youngest woman that Lorraine had seen said that she had this evil smile. Well, she was insane. She was declared insane and violent. And when they went camping, they had a different spirit that came to them. The dog caught on into the bushes and went, and it was a young girl. She was about 14. This is not one that was in his house, unless it's a mimic. And am I giving too much away?
No. Go ahead.
Come back and talk.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Go ahead.
I know. So
this is what we're talking about. So
the face on her, he said she had that, like what you would think, that crooked demonic smile and that
Yeah.
intense, how they look down. And it was just to say, hey, asshat, like
Yeah.
you can go as far as you want.
Mhm.
I'm here. But this also brings to me my recollection of one of our favorite films, The Entity, happened about the same time. Not long before that,
Yeah.
during that same time where she was followed, and this was something that was being steered by another demonic force, the raping, the
Mhm.
multiple rapes, they were getting bites and scratches on their, this sounds like The Entity. And Kathy
I
Letts,
worked
she had bruises too.
I worked with many families who went through that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right down from sexual, physical attacks to all of the infestation sounds and occurrences. It's pretty much the MO with a lot of them, and some of them are a lot harsher.
That's what they didn't understand then, because they couldn't get that information. So they saw it as propaganda for attention in media.
Mhm.
And that's the sad part. All of these people that suffered back then, it's just really sad.
Yeah. It is sad, and it's unfortunate that, I mean, there are many oh, good catch.
Yeah,
You're
perfect
ahead of
timing.
us.
Thank you.
We get it twice.
Yes.
We get it with you, and then
and then in an hour.
That's right.
Because we're an hour
catch,
behind
guys.
you.
Good catch.
Yeah.
There are so many, families in the same situation, and you just never hear about them.
Right.
They.
Well, you do. The
I
general
do.
population doesn't hear about it, but Michelle does.
I hear about it a lot. There's a lot of researchers out there who have the same idea. Some people tackle them, some people don't. I mean, I won't lie, I don't follow them all, and I most certainly never followed this one until Maxim and I started talking, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he had a chapter of it, and one of the books that he did in Beyond the Outer Realm." And it was like, God, that sounds interesting. Because I wrote a whole book on it.
Oh, I hope he comes back on.
I know. We might have to just bring him back.
Hear his account.
We might have to just bring him back. I'll put the book up while we're talking.
Yeah.
So there's a link to this book, guys, on Amazon. It's in the show description if you're interested. One thing about Maxim is he's very thorough in his research and his writing. So definitely worth looking into it. But again, how many just completely go unnoticed, suffering in silence and everything else. I mean, it is a thing. This definitely happens, unfortunately.
Especially if they're afraid or don't understand it. Because I keep going back to that 2% with Father Morton. I think, yeah, but what is 2% of 500,000? Still too many. If they're valid. Still too many.
But there are some researchers that are completely on the fence with it. They're just like, it's like, 2%, because they don't understand that, you have attachment, you have infestation, oppression, and then you have legitimate possession. And it's like, well, why is the Vatican, bringing on all of these new exorcists? They have a shortage of exorcists if it's only such a small percentage, if it's that rare.
Well,
fair enough.
The representative and the bishop that performs those exorcisms are few and far in between for the vast amount of churches and dioceses that we have in the world. There's a lot of Catholic countries, so it's really hard to the highest amount I think was Africa. For problems, because it's very easy to go in when you see a continent where there's a lot of struggle for food and water and a lot of death and illness and rituals.
War.
That's a big one too.
It is.
It's very sad. It's very sad. It's just, like I said, that 2% number bothers me so much.
Yeah. Well, again, how do you differentiate? Like, you have to go based on the ones that maybe, Is it the ones that the church has actually authorized exorcisms on, or where do those statistics come from?
Was like Annalise, I know that's the
Annalise
thing too.
Michelle,
Like,
yeah,
what are you? Because
yeah.
if you hear the 2% that are actual demonic was Father Amorth who said it,
Mhm.
but I don't know if that was the line in his movie or that's
But
something that
when did he say?
said
Yeah, but when did he say it?
before he did the actual program.
Right.
This was before. This
Yeah.
was when they were giving it to him,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
after he had done that church
Mhm.
and cleared it, there was a whole, like, just tidal wave tsunamis coming in
Mhm.
of people who had fear. So they have to, and that's another reason why it takes so long, because they have to go through them with fine-tooth combs. And
They do.
yeah,
They do.
it's, and there's not many of them. You may see like all these people walking around the Vatican. Those are not the ones that are doing these exorcisms. There's a handful for the entire world.
Mhm. I'll tell you, and these are the only sort of I don't like the word case. I don't like the word client, because they're people
No.
in their situations. So the majority, of the cases, situations, families that I deal with, um, if this is the type of stuff, this is a type of events and situations, and I always ask for a psychological or psychiatric assessment, to like a second opinion, if they're willing. I don't demand it, because stuff costs money in some places, and I need permission
Mhm.
from those doctors, or physicians, or psychologists, psychiatrists, to work with people. Because if I'm dealing with somebody of Catholic background, that's what they're going to ask for.
Mhm.
And then they're going to bring in their own people, chances are. If it's something, if they deem that, this could be, they're going to bring in their own people who are going to deal with that. Like, or they're going to work with those medical professionals. And I always get permission. It's just like, never let them go off the medication. So when you look at that, and the medication doesn't work, then you have to ask yourself, is it because, you're dealing with something other than some kind of disorder? And I remember filming a TV show, and they had a psychologist on there, and they asked about, having their patients work with someone like me, for example. And they're like, if there's something that's leading them to believe that all of these things are happening and the medication doesn't work, and we change it and it doesn't work, and we change it again and it doesn't work, then we have to start digging deeper on all counts. And there are some psychologists that now even involve themselves in cases that are legitimate.
You know what I think they're missing in this case?
Mm.
When you read everything, the chandelier's like it's ripped out, the TV catches itself on fire, turns on and off, and it's not even plugged in. Things being hurled and moved around. I think they're ignoring the poltergeist activity between mom and child. Because there is a puberty level there, and she is in her 40s. So I think that's being dismissed and overlooked as well. And I didn't get that till today when I was looking at it
Psychokinesis is a
going,
big one. I mean,
yeah,
can you
especially
imagine the
with,
level of stress that they're
right?
experiencing?
Well, they had said that, excuse me, my voice is just shot. They had said that once it hit the media, when they were trying, what they were trying to get was not Ed Warren and Lorraine Warren's attention. They were trying to get the church's attention so that they were be forced to do this exorcism. And once they started doing that, it was fueling what was inside. So that became more serious, more dangerous. It became, volatile, and everything escalated. Where the levitations, when you woke up and you were flying above your bed, it was just Tuesday night. And they were all experiencing it, as well as the in-laws next door. and people across the street, up to 6 homes on that street were affected.
Yeah.
There's got to be more to it than just
Land?
this man killed his wife. I think I don't know. I feel like it has something to do with the flooding before that.
I was just going to say there was flooding.
Yeah.
They left their last home from flooding.
Yeah.
You know, did they bring something back with them?
Right around the corner from their house, there was a big sinkhole in the backyard, and it's in their current neighborhood. I looked it up because it was close to Chase Street and I wanted to know where it was. And all you saw was pickaxes and some bones in that. And you know what it reminded me of? You remember when the pool fills up with bodies and poltergeist? I'm like, but there was no water. It just sank. So something must have given way. If anyone's a plumber, you know, when you pull the pressure of water from this side, it creates air on that side. And I think it just went, and all the pickaxes, there's photographs of it online. I'm like, wow, that's not far from their home. So now we need to start scouting parameters and finding out who lived where, when, and what happened.
Yeah. It's really, you know, I think it goes a lot deeper for sure. And it makes you wonder. So what it targeted this specific family, if it's affecting other families, you know, why were the other homes exercised as well? Or are we just looking at the one?
Maybe we should get the daughter on. She's now a paranormal investigator. One of the daughters out of 4.
Yeah, there we go.
Get her on, we'll get the truth.
Yeah, it would be interesting because there's so much, you know, around, not just, and again, it's really hard when there's a feature film out because that's what people see. Like it's tough to get into the basics of what really happened. Conjuring was the same. You know, look at all the stuff that went on. And Andrew is just like, no, that didn't happen.
No, in fact, they couldn't put what happened in because they couldn't get it rated for film. It was 10 years, and they condensed that into an hour and a half and 1 year. But that was unrealistic. They were there 10 years, and it wasn't always like that. But when it happened, it was bad.
Yeah.
But and again, a lot on the land. That was heavily on the land, and that's also where she saw her first UFO when she was 13. Was on that property.
Well, we know everything is literally connected. That's definitely not a surprise, you know.
Oh, I'm so sad he's not back. I wanted to learn.
I know he must be having a really he was sort of getting fuzzy and freezing. Even when he first came on, he was sort of blurry, and I thought, I hope we don't have a bad reception, because I think he's in Florida, isn't he? I think is what he said.
I think that's what he said. Yeah.
So,
the hurricane is in Jamaica.
Oh, so I wonder if you're just getting some high winds or something along those lines. Okay,
let's just watch out for JoJo too.
Yeah.
Hi, Wayne.
If there are miles of mine shafts beneath the town in various neighborhoods and a calamity caused the deaths of many miners, it could be a huge contributing factor behind the haunting. So
yeah. And that's what I was trying to say earlier. Yeah. And thank you for putting it so eloquently, Wayne, because I couldn't get it out. That's what I remember them reading about, how some of these mines were flooded. And the second flood in 2011 is interesting to me because most of the town, this little borough, was underwater, and we're talking like 70% water. So I wonder, that has to start something up. They lost a borough in 2011.
Oh, there we go. Wayne says there must be something in the cosmos or a planet in retrograde. Mark, because we're having a lot of issues with electronics.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Programs and all kinds of stuff. Isn't Mercury in retrograde? Shh, Carrie. Shh. Mercury. We don't want to hear about that.
When isn't it? I like those stories better. When people say it's not in retrograde, why tell me it's in retrograde? I can tell by my life, how I walk,
It's in
Whether or not I
retrograde.
land on my face.
I know it's in retrograde. It absolutely is.
My life's always in retrograde.
No, for sure. So, I mean, the family eventually moved out. Did they report any problems after that?
Nothing. Years later, nothing. And neighbors around that home that had banging and stuff like that. And you got to remember too, it's partial land, and I think some of them, if they were friends and had been in the home, would have been made familiar with what was there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have any fear going into a place like that, you're definitely going to have a friend come home with you. But yeah, they said no, but I don't know when that answer was given. So that's why I'm so curious now, and I want to know what's going on there now. But Maxim said current owner said there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
do the Smurls have anything?
Yeah, well, sure. I mean, if they exercise the house, nobody in there, this is good. But it makes me wonder, are there stuff going on in the neighboring houses?
Yeah, and why did the church wait till they left?
Yeah.
So that means that it was necessary. They just didn't want the publicity.
Yeah.
So they just let the family hang?
Right. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
Father Morris.
Well, I mean, there's two different, you're looking at two different types of exorcisms, right? You're looking at exorcism of people, which you need to have the mindset, right? That's where all of they have to do all of these assessments and really dig their heels in and get proper information and make that a decision based on those assessments. Whereas with a location, it's interesting to me to exercise a location.
I wonder if they did anything to the earth. So they had, Ed and Lorraine had multiple, if not like hundreds of photographs, film, and audio recordings in the Smurl's home that's never
saw the light of day. No. I wonder why.
Hey, Tony. You like us.
Lorraine's always been very forthcoming. I mean, I've been to some of her, her talks, a couple of her talks, and she's definitely shown some very interesting stuff. I mean, she could have shown stuff from this stuff. I would not have been familiar with
all the talks that she did in universities and everything. But this documentarian who did this documentary, which I found to be the most legit out of the 800 I watched in the last 2 weeks, but said that they never wanted to show them. I wouldn't be surprised if they were afraid of something projecting and coming through, because he said they were intense, but the photographs were very poltergeist, not polster. My head's going in a different direction. Poltergeist, like the things that were happening.
A lot of people do believe that these things are just self-projected energy. I know the skeptics here said that they were unconvinced. I am on another site called That's Interesting. It's one of my favorite sites. I really enjoy it. Anyway, it says that the Warrens had no credentials or scientific parapsychological communities. Well, they don't need to. They were paranormal investigators and demonologists. They didn't make any bones about that. But by a man named Paul Kurtz, philosophy professor at the State University of New York in Buffalo, and chairman of the committee for the scientific investigation of claims of the paranormal. So we're getting into some psi stuff. And he added that the Smurl story was nothing more than a hoax, a charade, a ghost story. Meanwhile, some offered to lend free psychiatric and psychological help to the Smurls, who many felt were suffering from delusions and hallucinations, but they had declined. And when the Warrens came in, they asked a priest to come by the house to perform an exorcism. The priests, in fact, reportedly performed 3, all of which were unsuccessful. Janet Smurl said that they had failed because a demon had traveled back and forth between halves of the double block, depending, each side of the house, depending on which side the exorcism was taking place. So Reverend Gerald Mullally, the Scranton Diocese Chancellor, said the church had been made aware of the Smurl's troubles, but did not confirm that they were being haunted by a demon. We don't know what it is. That's the problem. We believe what the family is telling us. It's the explanation for what they are experiencing that we are not sure of.
At one point, when things weren't going their way, the one thing I did find in common and with the movie is Ed provoked it.
That never ends well.
No.
Go ahead.
I think it was out of exasperation and, I don't know. And I did find that same thing in 4 different places. So I do double check because I love Ed and Lorraine, and you'll never hear me say a bad word about either one of them or their family. I love Judy. I love Julie Zaffis, John Zaffis. I love them all.
Yeah.
They made a lot of sacrifices in their lives over the years and for many years to help so many people for nothing. So when people say to me, well, they made money from when they went to talk, Ed and Lorraine, well, yeah, something has to pay for gas, but they never charged a family in need.
No.
So let's not confuse the two. You can't take that away from them, especially posthumously. This is terrible. They were good people who really did help a lot of people.
And sometimes doing events like this, remember there was no internet, at least back then. It's a way of people being able to find them if they need assistance.
Absolutely. And they always went to talk to students. And that makes a lot of sense, Annabelle. Right?
Yeah.
How did they find out about Annabelle? They were at a university speaking to the 2 nurses who got rid of the doll.
Yeah. A lot of controversy surrounding that too, but that's a whole different show. Okay, so in the eyes of skeptics, Jack Smurl's medical history didn't help. In 1983, he had surgery to remove water from his brain, before which he had been experiencing short-term memory loss, a problem that originated with meningitis he had suffered in his late 20s. His family's resistance to suggestion that they undergo psychiatric or psychological examination only made a hoax seem more likely. So the explanation, there is an explanation for the Smurl house, but would not simply assume it's a haunting, Kurt says. It seems to us that a great to-do has been made about it, and we wonder if it's like the Amityville horror hoax, which was based on imagination rather than actual haunting. So, right? The Warrens.
What?
Yeah, he said was it like the Amityville horror hoax? Because
Amityville was a hoax?
A lot of people believe so.
I love parapsychologists. I love parapsychologists.
The Warren said it should also be noted. The Warrens, it should also be noted, also claimed the Amityville haunting was authentic. I know Lorraine said that was the one place that she feared. In that case,
her first apparition of Padre Pio in full apparition was when she walked into that home and looked to her right. In the dining room by the sideboard, she could see him full apparition.
Yeah, there's a photo of it too.
Yeah.
So in that case, at least, there has been a very real tragedy when Ronald DeFeo Jr. fatally shot his parents and 4 younger siblings in the Long Island home. The case of the Smurl family, however, no explanation was offered as to why it would be haunted in the first place. So does it confirm the story was a hoax, or does it just add another layer of doubt? Right? So it says, additionally, a priest from the diocese who spent 2 nights in the home in 1986 said nothing unusual happened during his stay. Later that month, Reverend Joseph Adonisio, pastor of Immaculate Conception Parish in West Pittston, told the media, prayers have chased the foul smells and violent demons from the West Pittston home, and that things are back to normal. So a year later, Janet Smurl says they were still experiencing things.
That's when it started coming back tenfold.
I know,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know. I mean, welcome.
I would love to see parapsychologists and paranormal researchers and investigators just hear both sides and write them down and see where they fit. Because sometimes I feel like one side's just looking to smash the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's really difficult. You need to have that balance. I'm full agreement. A lot of people lean to good parapsychologists here. Elliot Van Dusen, right? He's been on the show. He's
very good and he's very fair.
Yeah, he is, and he's very open-minded and he's very logical. And they have their conference in Nova Scotia this weekend as well.
And it's not on Thanksgiving weekend. We could have gone.
Yeah, no. They got it. This coming weekend. I think, is it this weekend or the one after? I can't even remember now. I better go double check that. Darn it!
Can we still
I'd be
go?
giving out the wrong information.
Can we still go?
A year later, okay, so they were going through things, and nothing as severe as when they had contacted the Warrens. They moved out of the home shortly after, settled in Wilkes-Barre. The woman who moved into the home next, Deborah Owen, says she never had a supernatural experience. The man who moved in to the other half said the same. So no member of the Smurl family has ever come forward to confirm if the story was a hoax, but as always, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. In this case, however, scientific explanations had barely been tested, let alone exhausted. So with others, more grounded explanations still on the table, no conclusive evidence to support the paranormal one, the Smurl haunting remains unconvincing, of course. So there's I think it's one of those situations where you have your believers and you have your non-believers. Amityville has been on that same table.
Still to this day, but you have to stop and question what parents would put this through their children. Their children were young when they first moved there, very young.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The youngest one, I don't think she was more than 6 or 7 when she was tossed down the stairs and doesn't remember how she got there. The mother just heard her scream when she woke up.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of them have their own situation, and apparently a lot was going on in the bathroom. So I'd like to know what was that, a place where the murder took place, or is that just sitting above some bloodied land of something else, even on top of this, another story? I don't feel like this is the only story there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the land is full of blood and so much more.
There's a lot of areas like that.
Well, when it flooded, those miners went with it.
Yeah.
They perished with that flood.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
So
I agree. It would really be curious to see if other people in the area were also having those experiences.
Around their homes, there's at least 6 homes that have been documented that were 6
as severe.
Knocking, the odors, the things being moved, pushed, scratched. Yes, the normal stuff that you see with yeah.
Still,
I don't know why.
Do these people still. I would think with
idea.
the film out that you would have people in these situations, in these houses, come forward and say, nobody bothered to ask us if there was something going on.
Well, it depends how old they were when they were living there, though. Because like the 80s, I know for us, it seems like 5 years ago.
No. It's a long
it's almost
ago.
40.
Long time ago.
So if you're in your 40s, then I would imagine. But if they're children, if you're listening to our show, please contact us.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. I wish that I had written the name of the daughter that I don't know if it was Sean, Karen, or Dawn, Shannon, or Karen, or Kim. I can't remember which one, but one went into paranormal. I bet you Mr. Haas knows her. But yeah. Be interesting to see if Maxim ever spoke to her.
Well, he's interested in paranormal. He does paranormal books and such. So maybe, maybe. Wayne says, in any haunting, you'll have those who believe every sound, etc., is a ghost. Equally, non-believers will see or hear something that is clearly paranormal, but would absolutely discount that event.
Yeah.
So
I believe it. There was a scene in the first Conjuring where Roger Perrin says, "Oh, sorry, we keep those doors closed." And Ed says to keep the children out. He goes, "No." He goes, "They rattle like a knock, like," and it just goes on for hours. And it's like to him, it was just a draft, and to Ed, it was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, it just kept going.
Here's the first sign.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people should be hard on people who, if a film comes out and all of a sudden this stuff is happening, because clearly it wasn't all of a sudden. It was just all of a sudden that they realized that what they're hearing could be something else.
Mm-hmm.
Don't criticize people. Be kind. You never know what demons, and I don't mean it in that sense, that they're dealing with and how they're dealing. I mean, there's lots of stuff that slipped right past me, and I'm a medium. So, because you get so used to your life a certain way, and you're very dismissive of something moving or something making noise. It's like, oh, I'm in the country, the ground's probably shifting. Oh, it's a truck outside. No. We tell ourselves these things so we don't have to deal with it sometimes. And sometimes they are just that. But picking on someone or saying that it's a hoax is unfair.
Unless you live there. Thank you, Mark. Unless you're the one going through it, it's very hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay to be a naysayer, but if you're not living the experience, you should try to have an open mind. There are some researchers who I've personally met and who's just like, no, it's all psychokinesis. It's all, mental health, or it's all projection of energy. It's all poltergeist activity. It's all, it's a telekinesis. It's like, one day the answers will be known to us, and it may not be in this lifetime.
Maybe
at least
when
for
we
some of us.
Yeah.
That's.
And I'm wearing shades, so I don't see that light. Just say.
Yes. There we go. Right. Oh, it's right, Wayne. Look at you go.
Yep.
Always remain humble and keep an open mind. Yes, exactly.
It's trying, and it's a tough world to do it in right now, but
yeah,
it often becomes easier to criticize than to live and perhaps say, hey, how can I help you?
It's a big one.
And know when you can't help. Move them along to someone who can.
Yep, I agree.
Oh my gosh.
I agree with you. So, guys.
I'm really sad. Did I scare him away?
No, I think he just sort of dropped. We are, I'm just trying to find the banner here. Hold on. There we go. So tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, you can catch me on Ethereal Encounters. We're going to be talking about shadow people, energy field, portals, interdimensional beings. Caroline's got a whole thing planned. I know.
Love it.
I know. I love hanging with her. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And of course, tomorrow night, Wayne is on the show.
Yes.
We're just getting into the history.
Brother.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love you two together so much.
Thanks. We have a lot of fun. So it's our All Hallows Eve with guest Wayne Mallows, exploring the ancient origins, traditions, and lore of Halloween and how it's evolved and being celebrated around the world. So we had Daryl Walsh last week, and he got the ball rolling. So we had this planned as well. So we're going to take off with it and take it into modern times and so on.
Awesome.
And next week, Laura Lee Potvin joins me on Beyond the Outer Realm, and we're going to be doing, is it truth or conspiracy? We're delving into the world of celebrity deaths.
Oh, there's a big one right now. I'll tell you after.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that. I mean, just did they, didn't they, why, what's going on? We thought it would be a lot of fun to do, and we hope that you guys will will come and hang out with us on that one. And of course, we cannot forget the UPRN Halloween party. I sent
Oh
you a
boy.
fake telegram, Amelia. So it's on Spirit Switchboard with Carrie Michelle on Friday. It starts at 6. Her show is 6 until 8, but our parties have a way of going a bit longer. Hosts will be dropping in and out. It'll be a great opportunity for those who enjoy the shows here to get to know some of the hosts that maybe you haven't seen, because we have over 30 shows with new ones starting November 3rd. Ron Moorhead, Daryl Denton. Yeah, right there. And it's going to be Two Real Cryptid Legends is the name of the show. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
That.
And on the 4th, for those who maybe do watch Parrot Truth Reborn on Sundays, they've got a live one starting. They got a new time slot, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And by the way, Two Real Cryptid Legends, Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. So our shows. So Parrot Truth will be Tuesday at that time, and they're going live. So you're going to have, a couple of weeknights with these guys for a little while. But come and check out the hosts who'll be coming and going throughout Spirit Switchboard. Halloween, just fun. I know Bart Sharp from, I should know. His name is this long. Quantum. I'm sorry.
Quantum Solace. No, that's a movie. Quantum Solace is a movie.
Oh, okay.
Quantum Leap? No.
No. I'm going to give it to you right now because it is a name that
God, no.
I know and I always butcher, and I apologize, Bart.
We love you, Bart.
Becoming quantum conscious.
Becoming quantum conscious.
And it's on every Wednesday from 3 until 4 p.m. Eastern. So he's already got like a bunch of like spoofy things going on because he's a bit of a ham. So come on out, get to know Bart, get to know everybody else, and have some fun. And Maxim, I don't know what happened to you, my friend, but we're gonna have to do this again and try to get you back on to talk about your book. So here it is, The Smurl Haunting, when Ed and Lorraine came to town, and they basically, there's a whole array of things that he covers here. You can find the information as to where to purchase the book, where to find Maxim and his other books. Everything is in the show description. So
yeah, maybe pick it up and read it before he comes back. You'll be able to contribute more.
Well, the way we book, absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, guys, have a terrific evening tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow night for open discussion on everything else, and great week coming up. So thank you all for tuning in, and we appreciate you. Good night.